There is a place that is spoken about only in whispers, a dark area that spawns the beginnings of urban legends, a place where anything can happen and usually does. During the light of day, it hides just outside of view, but when the sun goes down, spirits, creatures of the night, roam free, and things do go bump in the night. It is in every state and every country, and there is no escaping it, no matter how safe you feel behind your locked doors and latched windows. So we invite you to turn down the lights and turn up your radio while we join Dave Schrader and Tim Dennis, your hosts, on a journey into the darkness on the edge of town.
Hello and welcome. You're tuned into the best in paranormal talk radio. This is Beyond the Darkness. I'm your host, Dave Schrader, along with me, Tim Dennis at the Supernatural News Desk. Hello, Tim.
Hello.
Tim, I'm back.
Yes, you are.
I had an amazing time in Romania, except for the last day. I've got to be honest with you.
I'm wondering how many Romans you caught when you were out there, because I know...
I don't know. I've caught something, man.
Did you?
I on the last night we had our final dinner.
Okay.
And I didn't feel very good, and I'm like, well, I always kind of feel junky at the end of the trip. Not sick, but just kind of like, I hate that it's over. I'm going to miss my friends until next year. And I know that sounds corny, but I really do love hanging out with our listeners and seeing the world. And we make such great connections on these trips. And so I'm feeling a little down. I'm like, you know what? I'm going to eat and then go. I got to get up early. I got to be up at 2:30 in the morning to, be ready at 3 to take my cab over to the airport and be ready for a 6 o'clock flight. Right.
Sure. Yeah.
So I excuse myself. I go up to my room, and within about 20 minutes, I begin tremors and like rolling nausea like I've never had in my entire life, Tim.
Ugh.
I felt like I was going to die and explode. And part of that happened. It was horrible. It was so bad that at 2:30 when I woke up to head home, I had already hit the restroom about 4 or 5 times, alternating between ways of purging my body, if you get my drift.
Yeah.
I contact the wife back in Minnesota, and I'm like, honey, I don't know that I'm going to make it home today. She's like, what do you mean? I said, I don't know if I can get out of this room. I have never been this sick. And she's like, what are you talking about? I said, everything is killing me. My whole body hurts. I'm erupting every 10 to 15 minutes. So I know she's feeling miserable. So she was kind of my motivator. I wanted to get home to her to help take care of her. Right. She's been dealing with her Crohn's and other issues. So I fight through it. I get myself ready, shaky and trembling all the way down. I get in my cab, take the cab to the airport. Luckily, God shone his light of love and mercy on me, Tim. I get on my flight from Romania to Paris. The row next to me is completely empty, and the guy comes up and goes, Monsieur, would you like to have this aisle to yourself? I'm like, yes. And don't be jealous of my amazing French accent, Tim.
It's pretty good.
I did travel through there twice, so I'm pretty good at it.
My people are proud of you.
I laid down, or I sat in the middle seat, figuring that would fend anybody else off from wanting to be near me. And as soon as they shut the door, I laid down, and I slept from Romania to Paris.
Oh, nice.
The gods weren't with me as much on my way back, Tim. As soon as I got to Paris, I landed. I waited to be the last person off the flight because I was moving so slow and shaky. I get off the flight. I get there. Now, here's where airport security has me a little concerned.
Okay.
I'm thinking there's no way I'm going to make it through security. I look guilty as hell.
Okay.
Right? I'm shaking. I'm sweating like a nervous man, right? My eyes are shifty because I'm constantly looking for where is a restroom or a garbage can or, a child to puke on, something. I just needed to have something.
They're good for that, yeah.
And I get through security. I played the dumb consumer, American white ass idiot and walked up to the front of one line, and I'm like, oh, is this where I go? And they're like, yeah, just come through. So I get in, I put all my stuff on the rack to go through their security cameras, and I'm trembling and sweat is pouring. My glasses won't stay on my face. They keep falling off because I'm sweating so profusely. The woman behind the deal reaches over and grabs my hand. She goes, Monsieur, do you need a physician? And I'm like, I might. I just need to sit down for 5 minutes. So she helps me get through security and seats me for 5 minutes.
Okay.
Pushes a cart over to me so I can put my duffel bag in it to take it to the airplane. I have I have 40 minutes before they're going to start boarding.
Ooh.
I'm 100 yards away from my gate.
Okay.
I made it there with 5 minutes before because
geez.
I moved so slow.
Oh, my God.
Shaking and trembling. I thought I was going to have a heart attack and die when I was standing in security. I've never sweated and shaken that much in my entire life.
Oof.
So I get down there, get on the plane. I try to force myself. I'm sleeping. I'm taking Benadryl, anything I can to soothe my stomach, Imodium, Pepto-Bismol, Jack Daniels, anything I could think of, Tim. Trying to kill bacteria. Ugh. And I will tell you, I had the single weirdest situation happen to me. I don't know. I want your opinion on this. I'm not going to color the situation, but you tell me what I witnessed.
Okay.
I was lucky enough that my row was right next to the bathrooms in the center of the airplane.
All right.
And I was on the aisle seat, so I was like right there. Mm-hmm. So again, the bathroom gods shone upon me that day.
Sure.
And as I'm sitting there, we're more than halfway through the flight. A woman from the back of the plane comes forward and stands in front of the bathrooms. A man from the front of the plane comes back and stands in front of those bathrooms. They stand there for a second, look at each other, and she goes, "It's a hot one today." And he looks at her and he goes, "But not as hot as in Tanzania." And they both nod and then go into different bathrooms, which, you should. You shouldn't pair up in an airplane bathroom. That's weird. But
that is. Well,
I'm just going to ask you, what do you think I just saw happen in front of me?
To me, that's your stereotypical movie spy scenario. Yeah, that's
it's a hot one today, but not as hot as Tasmania or wherever the hell he said.
Tanzania. Right. Yeah,
and I'm like, what just happened? And then they come out and go in opposite directions, never again speaking a word to one another.
That's bizarre.
I was kind of afraid. I didn't know what was going to happen next, especially when they both went into different bathrooms opposing each other. I'm like, oh my God, are they going to blow this plane out of the sky?
Okay, but did they touch each other?
I was too sick to do anything.
Did they touch each other when they said anything?
No.
All right.
There was no exchange of microfilm. There was no...
Well, they don't use microfilm anymore.
They might, Tim. It's spies. You don't know. So it was just, there was no exchange of microfilm. There was nothing. And that's why it made me feel nervous that there might be something else insidious afoot. But luckily we landed. Although at the point I would have taken being blown up because I just couldn't take the sickness anymore. Oh. So I have been reeling with that the entire week. I wish I could say I was better, but I'm not completely. I would say I'm at 50% tops from where I normally would be. Whatever this thing is it's destroying me. I don't know. It's eating me alive from the inside, Tim.
Okay, can I give you a suggestion? You're going to now. I know you're not great with you don't like the whole psychic thing. I know that.
No. Well, it's not that I don't like psychic things, Tim. I'm fine with psychic things. I just like sitting there listening to people get readings on the radio show just got old for me. But I don't mind psychic stuff other than that. Why? What have you got for me?
You're going to think this is hokey.
Probably, but go ahead.
And I probably shouldn't be telling you this on air. I probably should have told you this off air. Okay. But it's hitting me now, right. Of all times when we're sitting here on air and we're talking. But
sure,
while you were gone, you and I were talking about this whole generational curse thing. You kind of thought it was a load of malarkey on my end, and I was telling you about that ghost I had here in the house.
Right.
Well, I had talked to a psychic who had said, I really do believe you do have a generational curse that does go back to your 17th great-grandfather, which was the 4th Grand Master of the Knights Templar, right?
Name dropper.
Yeah, I know. I like to do that. And gave me something to do to get rid of this curse. Well, I did it. And
you pawned it off on me?
No. But
you're like, I get rid of the go see Dave, and then I'm on my trip in Romania, and all of a sudden I'm like, I take on your curse.
I would never do that. Okay. But so I do this, and it's nice and quiet at my house. But here's the thing: there was a message in that reading for you.
Okay.
And that message was to have your heart checked.
My heart checked.
Yes, there was a concern about your heart, and that you should have your heart checked.
That I might not have one anymore.
No. Your heart. Oh. You still have your heart, but just that they were concerned about you potentially having some issues with your heart. So.
My heart's fine.
See, and I knew. See, if I would have told you this off air, you would have been like, "Yeah, bullshit." But
I would have never.
So then
my heart's fine.
So then,
I'm going into a doctor, so I'm gonna get checked out anyway. I just got to make sure that I haven't picked up Romanian vampire parasites.
Right.
Slowly turning me.
When you go to the doctor, just have the old ticker once overed. I know you think it's hokey. I know you think I'm being hokey right now.
Not at all. Hey, I will take it. I'll take it. I'll check into it. And if there's something wrong with my heart, I'll blame you because it was fine until you told me to go in and check it. So thanks, Tim.
But here's the thing. I mean, one of the other times that you went on one of these overseas trips, you did have a little issue with the old tickers. I'm just saying.
I did. It was my last Romania trip, as a matter of fact.
So I'm just saying.
Maybe they're just picking up on an echo of that moment.
I don't know.
Let's hope that's the case.
So I'm just saying.
Let's hope that's the case. But let me tell you real quick. Romania, beautiful countryside. I would live there tomorrow. Sans upset stomach. I would live there tomorrow if I could because it's so beautiful. Had a great chance to see amazing things. We had some exclusive access to things we'd never had before. It was great. There was strange paranormal activity that took place at Hunyad Castle. A couple of the women there had taken the archaeologist around, and they did some glass scrying. And this woman would ask questions, very skeptical. She's a scientist. And this thing was answering in Romanian. And the two women that were doing it were Australian, Tim. They don't know of Romanian. They're answering. They're spelling out her last name. We don't know this woman's last name. They're spelling out this woman's last name.
Really?
Crazy, Tim.
Wow.
That's crazy and shenanigans. Crazy.
That is.
So that went on, and I heard some great stories. As a matter of fact, I did a whole video travel log.
Yeah.
And had a good time. And those videos, you can go check them out at midnightinthedesert.com. Go to midnightinthedesert.com, and I think if you go to the Dave Schrader tab or whatever, I'm not sure where they are, but they're there on the site. And I did, I think, 7 or 8 videos from my trip. You get to see some amazing sights. You get to hear some great stories, some of the histories of these castles from the archaeologist and from Vlad the Impaler himself, Tim. Vlad was at Bran Castle and led us through a tour, and he was great. Funny guy. He was a mix of Vlad Dracula and Groucho Marx.
Oh.
He was campy and funny and told these one-liners throughout the trip. We just had a great time. It was really a fun event overall. Except for the last day. But I would say that was, again, one of the top 10 of my trips I've really enjoyed. Just loved going out there and had a wonderful time. But we saw that abbey, one of the abbeys that they filmed a little bit at and featured in the movie The Nun.
Oh, yeah. I saw that. Yeah.
The priest was very nice. But, here's something that is a little disheartening. Hollywood loves countries like Romania because they don't have to pay or get permission to film at churches. They can just show up and film. So here they have this beautiful old abbey and church with this amazing history. And the people there, it's a small congregation. And they've got German and Romanian and Hungarian people that come to this church. And this pastor is just a delight, just a sweetheart of a guy. And here they come in and associate this abbey with this demonic nun that was there. And none of that's true. And it's just bad PR.
Yeah. Oh, boy, I'll say.
For the church, and that they don't have to pay for it. Hollywood didn't give them a cent, and this is not a wealthy community. So I say shame on you, Hollywood.
Yeah.
Shame on you.
Yeah.
But other than that, it was great. And let's talk about The Nun. Did we get to do a movie review of The Nun?
I did a little one, but let's talk about it, you and I, because we haven't had a chance to talk about it yet.
I'll tell you what, I went in because the first Annabelle movie, I didn't care for. Right? The second Annabelle movie, Creation, I liked much more. So I was reluctant. I'm thinking, they're going to botch the first Nun. Maybe the sequel will be better. And I went in with very low expectations. And I was met with a really fun roller coaster of kind of a supernatural suspense film. It felt like a throwback movie to me. If I would have almost preferred it in black and white. I know that sounds corny, but it kind of had that vibe to it for me.
Yeah.
And I really liked it. And I liked the way that they tied it in to the Warren stories from The Conjuring and Enfield Poltergeist.
Yep.
And they brought it all around full circle. Now they're taking a lot of liberties in this story in the way that they connect them. But it'll be interesting to see where they take it from here. Now they've pretty much thrown the baby out with the bathwater in the fact that in this sense, they've kind of admitted, hey, we're doing our own stories. We're going to take the very thinnest slice of reality from these cases and then just turn them into something else for entertainment. Before, they were kind of playing it up that these are the case files of the Warrens. These are definitely based very lightly on the case files of the Warrens. So I think it'll be great to see where it goes. But I liked it. I thought there were some genuine scares, some good creepiness, and Marilyn Manson looked amazing as the nun throughout the movie.
That's what I kept thinking too. Although, I read an article on the lady that plays the nun, and they kept saying, I guess it was David Lynch who originally discovered her because she was in Twin Peaks, the movie.
And from my understanding, she's very attractive. I haven't seen her without the makeup.
She is. Well, I hate to be the ass here, but she's attractive in her own way. I mean, when you see her out of character, she is very attractive. But she's got different striking
unique beauty.
Yes, exactly.
Gotcha.
That's exactly
I
what it is.
I got you.
Yeah,
so I honestly, if I were going to, out of 5 stars, I would give this a solid 3 3/4 stars. Very close to 4 stars for a good spooker for this time of year.
That's fair. See, I have to go by a certain ranking. If I put it like within the Conjuring movies, I think it was a little less entertaining than Conjuring 1 and 2, but definitely better than the Annabelle movies. So I kind of went like about a 3 out of 5 because I liked it. I enjoyed it immensely, but it wasn't just, it was a notch below that. So, but there was one scene, and you and I were talking about it off air, that, and this absolutely grips me. There's not a lot about horror films these days that really does it for me, but this scene absolutely terrified me. This is the stuff that absolutely chills me to my core, and that's being buried alive. Preacher did it this last season, and this movie does it, and it just creeped me out to no end. And there's a scene in The Nun that, and I'm not going to spoil it for anybody, but oh my God, I
will. Somebody gets buried alive. Boom! Spoiler alert!
No, don't do that.
Right.
But I just yeah.
It was really well done. The only part, I've got to be honest with you, the only part to me that was a little disarming is that Vera Farmiga plays Lorraine Warren.
Right.
Her younger sister, what is it, like Tasia Farmiga?
Yes,
plays the nun in this, and she just looks so much like her sister that it's hard for me to have that disconnect. Now, I don't know if they did that on purpose and they're going to play that up in a future movie, which maybe makes sense, but to me, she just looked too much Elaine Warren. Or Lorraine Warren, not Elaine Warren. I don't know who Elaine Warren is.
Distant cousin.
Yeah. So that's that. All right. We've got a lot of news stories to cover. We've got some Parashare, and I want to throw this out. We'll hold it for after the break. Our Voices from Beyond voicemail. We want to hear your stories. 651-300-4977. And I know phone calls slowed down while I was gone. I kind of expected that was going to happen. But give us a call. Share your stories. And we're coming into October. Come on, people. Give us your best. I want to hear some of your weirdest, freakiest, and bizarre supernatural encounters. Even if they're funny, I want to hear some good ones. We do have one call today. Just one. But it's, I guess, in a sense, two, because he gets cut off and he calls back in. And it is a funny story. Who knew our phone number was 1 digit off from like a porn site? I didn't know that.
That's
so we're aware of it now. But give us a call, 651-300-4977, 651-300-4977. Before we turn it over to supernatural news, guys, listen. It's never a good look when you untuck your long, bulky dress shirt. Now, you may think it looks really kind of cool and casual, but more than likely it just ends up looking sloppy and messy and dopey. Those are a couple of the dwarfs they don't always talk about, Tim. Yeah. That's why Untuck It makes shirts that are specifically designed to be worn untucked. See how they do that, Tim? Untuck It makes shirts worn to be untucked. It's a casual shirt, and it's not too long, and it's not too short. It's just right. This is the Goldilocks zone of shirts, Tim. They have shirts designed so well that GQ is calling them perfection. Untuck It shirts are a go-to for any occasion, from casual to dressy. And not only do they look good, they feel great. And if you're a woman wishing that you could have one of these, well, Untuck It now makes shirts for women too. Shirts for her that are casual, versatile, and designed to last. Log on to untuckit.com. That's UNTUCKIT.com and check out all the new arrivals. Use promo code DARKNESS for 20% off your entire purchase. You can also visit one of the Untuckit's over 25 retail locations across the country. Stop hiding your shirt with your pants and your pants with your shirt. Untuckit.com, your solution to perfecting casual. Use promo code DARKNESS for 20% savings for first-time users. Again, UNTUCKIT.com and promo code DARKNESS to save 20% off your entire first purchase. Pluto TV is the leading free streaming television service. Right now, you can watch over 100 TV channels, thousands of movies, all on demand, all for free. No credit card needed, no sign up. Pluto TV is easy, and it's completely legal way to watch your favorite TV shows and hit movies. What are you waiting for? Never pay for TV again. Download Pluto TV for free on all of your favorite devices today. You can put it on your phone, Roku, Amazon Fire TV, Apple TV, smart TVs, PlayStations, and anywhere else you stream. What are you waiting for? Never pay for TV again by downloading Pluto TV. Check it out at pluto.tv. All right, Tim, where are we going to head off in the world of supernatural news today?
We go to a cave in Peru, Dave, with a pronunciation right off the bat that I'm sure I'm going to blow up, and why not?
Attaboy.
Yeah.
Way to face your fears head on.
Well, that's me. We go to a cave in Peru where no one can explain an alien claw found buried in that cave. A group of amateur researchers make a strange discovery in Peru on the site of, is it Cuzco? I'll just throw that there. Registered as a UNESCO World Heritage.
I don't think they're listening anyway. It's not like they're going to call and be like, why do you say this wrong?
Why do they sound like Russians?
I don't know.
The research resulted in a discovery of an alien claw, as they call it, buried in the ground, too big to belong to a human. This mummified limb emerged from the ground in a cave not far from Sacsayhuaman. I think that was a sound that Michael Jackson used to make as he was singing. Actually, it was Sacsayhuaman. I think.
Yeah. No. Probably not.
Yeah. But the young researchers refused to share the exact location of
But I do want to know who Annie is and why she needed to eat her oatcakes.
Well,
Annie, eat your oatcakes. Eat your oatcakes, Annie. I never understood that.
It turns out
I digress.
It's good for the bones. It's an osteoporosis thing. Yeah.
Good.
But the young researchers refused to share the exact location of their exciting discovery. Now that the famous claw will be examined by Dr. Edson Salazar before it's sent to the U.S. for DNA analysis. And that's pretty much the end of that story. So alien claw in possession, DNA analysis, and they'll find out if it's truly alien or not.
That picture's kind of weird. I don't know what it could be. Those fingers are extremely long.
If it were a pastry, it'd be an oatmeal bear claw, I believe.
Oh,
a very long
nice.
one. Yeah, that's
all right. Where are we off to next?
Naked kidnappers thought it was the Great Tribulation, Dave. They thought their neighbors faced demon danger. That's the headline on this one. This is actually the most interesting way to start
Demon Danger. That should be my rap name. What do you think?
Actually, that's a great album name, Demon Danger. Yeah, if you think about it. And that's not a bad rap name either. The carload of naked people arrested for kidnapping in a bizarre case in Canada. Oh, thank you, Canada, right near the Texas border. Last year, apparently believed they were doing a good deed, saving their neighbors from demons. Oh, bless you all. 2 women and a man involved in the incident. That's a party. Pleaded guilty to unlawful confinement last week, and a woman also admitted to dangerous driving. That's the least of their worries. According to court documents, the group of 5 Jehovah's Witnesses, now they know how to party, Dave, I'm just saying, had been staying at a house in Leduc, Alberta, where one of the women had taken her 2 teen daughters to visit her 27-year-old nephew and his wife. Over 3 days in early November, the group was apparently overtaken by religious mania. Oh, Vince McMahon puts that on every year. I don't know if you've ever been to Religious Mania before.
Nope.
Oh, it's wonderful. It's about 7 hours long, and came to believe the Great Tribulation, part of the biblical end times, had occurred. Oh, well, of course, then you just get naked and run. That's what happens there.
Put me down for 2. I'll take that reservation right now.
Yep. The group, believing they were in danger from wicked people outside or from demons, ended up fleeing the home so quickly that only the mother had time to get dressed. Court documents state, well, that's a mom for you. She's the only one with sense.
That's right. She's prepared.
Yep.
She's prepared. Yep.
She's prepared. The group kidnapped a man, his daughter, and her baby son from a neighboring home and drove off at speed chanting Jehovah. Jehovah, Jehovah. I just see this all in my head, and it's very funny. The neighbors escaped when the SUV slowed down and were picked up by a truck that stopped to help and was then rammed by the Jehovah's Witnesses. I don't know why I find this so funny.
They are getting pushier.
They are, yeah. Court documents state that when Mounties arrived, by horseback nonetheless,
I'll save you now.
The group, believing the officers were monsters who would kill them, refused to leave the vehicle and displayed extreme strength, much like the Hulk, as officers subdued them with pepper spray and tasers. Oh, those poor people.
Wow.
Yeah. The adults will be sentenced in September, or rather December. Wow, there you go.
With the kidnapping charge, I can get him off as Dave Schrader, defense attorney at law, Tim.
You could get them off pretty easy. They're naked, Dave.
Yeah, well, no. I mean, I could get them out of the kidnapping charge because what they were doing was Good Samaritan law. It should follow underneath the Good Samaritan law. They perceived an imminent danger. They weren't kidnapping their neighbors. They thought they were legitimately trying to save them and help them. So I think that should go under the Good Samaritan clause. Go with the rest. You ram somebody, you got to face the music on it. Naked, public nakedness. I also think that, as Dave Schrader, defense attorney at law, Tim, I could probably get them off of that charge as well, because it was, hey, when the world's coming to an end, who has time for clothes? So I throw us on the mercy of your court, Your Honor. So please just let my naked Jehovah's Witnesses free. I will be like the Moses to this group, Tim. I will stand up with tablets and I will say, set my people free, Tim, because I'm Dave Schrader, defense attorney at law.
Call Dave right now to get 20% off your retainer. Dave Schrader.
Use code word darkness at checkout.
Yes, use code word darkness at checkout.
Right. I have a question for you. Is Good Samaritan Claus the guy who comes and brings us gifts on Boxing Day?
No, that's not him.
No?
No.
Okay, just curious. Curious.
All right, where are we off to?
We move on, where cops have said a woman lived with mom's body out of curiosity. Oh, how nice. Donna Sue Hudgens has been charged with a felony concealment of a death. Oh, how morbid. Donna Sue Hudgens' neighbor thought Hudgens possibly had a sewer problem. Reports the News and Observer. The source of the odor ended up being much more jarring. Police allege the Enfield, North Carolina woman kept her mother's dead body in their home for months because she was curious and wanted to see the stages of death. Oh, she's a gem.
Yes, Your Honor, I represent the defendant. I'm Dave Schrader, defense attorney at law. And I'm here to tell you that this is for science. If we cannot learn from these moments, Your Honor, I don't know when we can. And when curiosity kills the cat, it is not satisfaction that brings them back. It is knowledge, Your Honor. And my client just wanted knowledge. She did not kill her mother, Your Honor. Her mother died of her own volition. And I would like to state here and now, for the record, Your Honor, in the name of science, we must let this woman go.
With all due apologies to Earl in Eastern Kentucky, can I do an impression real quick?
Please.
Donna Sue, you go over there and poke Mama with a stick and see if she falls apart.
God. That's disturbing in many ways.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay, so, they kept Mama's dead body in their home for months because she was curious and wanted to see the stages of death. That from a Facebook post from Enfield Police Chief Tyree Davis, who says the case began when Hudgens went to a funeral home to make arrangements for her 93-year-old mother, who said she had died that morning. The only problem, Hudgens, who was 69, reportedly said that she didn't know where EMS had taken Nellie Mae Hudgens' body. The funeral home was unable to track down the mother and contacted police. After speaking with the daughter, officers entered the residence to do a welfare check and discovered a badly decomposed body in the home. Hudgens was on Tuesday charged with felony concealment of a death, and as of November 7th court date, the News and Observer reports that the elder Hudgens was buried 2 weeks ago. This man was found living with his mother's and brother's bodies. Ew.
Yeah, that one I can't get off as easily, Tim.
Yeah, I wouldn't want to get her off.
No.
Smells.
It's the name of science.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Ooh, a very interesting story. We go to the entertainment side of things, Dave. I just saw this lady in concert. I had no idea. I was checking out dark magic and extreme witchcraft. I had no idea.
I think you did, Tim. I think you did.
Actually, you know what? It's
the only explanation for how she's famous, in my opinion.
Oh, what? No, she's very talented, Dave. Oh, Dave, I can tell you've never been to a show. Although her husband, I'll tell you, there's the rumors surrounding Jay-Z. We're talking about Beyonce, by the way. Jay-Z.
By the way, Tim, you've been pronouncing it wrong. It's just Jay's.
It's just Jay's.
Jay's. Yeah, Jay's. You don't have to separate it.
And it's not Hova, it's Hove. Is that what it is? Yeah, it's Hove.
It's Bianchi too.
It's Bianchi.
I don't know if you knew that. Yeah,
I had no idea.
From the old country.
Is it? It's the old country pronunciation. By the way, Jay-Z, there's the whole rumor that he's not only just a Freemason, but Illuminati and all this other stuff. Jay does a very dark show, and it's weird because Beyonce does a very light version. So when the two of them tour together,
it's a very gray show.
Oh, it's a gray show. It's all over the place.
Very gray, yeah.
Kimberly Thompson, a former drummer for an all-female band that once backed up Beyonce, is claiming the pop star has begun a campaign of occult harassment against her using extreme witchcraft, dark magic, and magic spells of sexual molestation. I just ground that word into the ground. Molestation. According to court documents asking for a restraining order found by the Blast, Thompson also accused Beyonce of murdering her kitten, tapping her phones, theft of intellectual properties, using magic spells on her lovers, and controlling her finances. When does Beyonce find the time? I don't know. This isn't the first time Beyonce has been accused of dabbling in the dark arts, and along with her husband, Jay's, as Dave puts it, rumors of involvement in the Illuminati have surrounded her for years. Thompson's request for a temporary restraining order was denied by a judge, likely due either to her erratic accusations of evil magic or Beyonce's pull in a pervasive conspiracy to rule the world. I went to, like I told you, that OTR2 tour this past summer. And if you read into the videos that they show on stage, you could almost read into it that Jay-Z took Beyonce as his dark queen in the video. It was there's all the subliminal messages and stuff like that. It's kind of interesting. Kind of into that stuff. Kind of like reading the subliminal messages, Dave. Just saying. Is that too much for you? Did I blow you away? Is that kind of all right, I should move on, shouldn't I? I'll move on. Let's go to the next story, shall we, folks? Is it aliens? Scientists detect more mysterious radio signals from a distant galaxy. Some think the fast radio burst could be evidence of an extraterrestrial civilization. Researchers using the Green Bank Telescope in Western Virginia announced the detection of 15 pulses of radio energy from an object known to the astronomy community as FRB 12H02. Don't try to ask for it by name. You might sprain your tongue. That'll happen. For the past decade, scientists have been puzzling over powerful millisecond long flashes of energy from deep space. Some scientists think these fast radio bursts, or FRBs, come from natural sources such as newborn neutron stars or black holes. Others think that they could be signals from alien civilizations. One thing's for sure, FRBs are more common than we realized. In the latest discovery, scientists are working as part of a $100 million initiative known as Breakthrough Listen, and used artificial intelligence. Oh my gosh, they used artificial intelligence to detect dozens of additional FRBs coming from FRB 12H02 as yet uncharacterized source in a galaxy 3 billion light years from Earth. That's a tough sentence to get over. The work is the first step of an initiative's grander plans for using AI to find hidden patterns in the bigger sea of cosmic signals that come our way, research that could finally provide an answer to the eternal question, are we alone in the universe? It's a great way of developing the kinds of techniques that we ultimately want to use to find other types of signals that might come from extraterrestrial intelligence, said Andrew Simeon, principal investigator for Breakthrough Listen and director of the Search for Extraterrestrial Intelligence, or SETI Research Center at the University of California, Berkeley. In August of 2017, the Breakthrough Listen team discovered 21 fast radio bursts from FRB or rather 12/11/02, during 5 hours of observations that were made by a radio telescope in Green Bank, West Virginia. And their latest study, which will be published in an upcoming issue of Astrophysical Journal, the researchers deployed a specialized AI technique known as deep learning. Oh, you never want deep learning in your AI. That's bad. To see if any signals had been overlooked in their initial research. Simeon gave Yufan Jerry Zhang, a doctoral student at Berkeley, the job of training a deep learning algorithm to hunt for the additional bursts. The trained AI was turned loose to sort through 400 terabytes of observational data. A huge trove containing about as much data is contained in 40,000 hours of 4K video. After a month of work, Zhang strolled into Simeon's office and told his stunned mentor that he had discovered about 100 previously undetected bursts. To be sure Zhang was right, the researchers used standard computer software to clean up the messy signals and confirm the existence of at least 72 additional bursts.
Jeez.
Yeah. The same AI approach could help astronomers find new repeating sources of fast radio bursts closer to Earth than FRB 12/11/02. If closer repeater sources do exist, astronomers might be able to get a better look at them using optical and X-ray telescopes, said Harvard astrophysicist Avi Loeb, the science theory director for all initiatives funded by the Breakthrough Prize Foundation. We still have no clue as to whether the origin is artificial or natural, said Loeb, who was not directly involved in the Breakthrough Listen work. Loeb had previously examined the possibility that fast radio bursts come from radio transmitters constructed by an advanced alien civilization, perhaps evidence of powerful energy beams used to propel alien starships. He also theorized that repeater sources such as FRB 12/11/02 are more likely to be such alien signals because natural origin explanations would most likely produce only a single burst. But the Breakthrough Listen team is already looking beyond fast radio bursts. It's developing AI to analyze a wider range of similarly interesting signals coming from nearby stars and galaxies. In this case, AI's broad pattern recognition abilities could prove especially helpful when nobody knows exactly what an alien signal might look like. If AI could flag things that don't look right or don't look natural, that might be an interesting thing to do, said Seth Shostak, and a senior astronomer at the SETI Institute in California who is not involved in the Breakthrough Listen study. Eventually, AI could do much more than just filter radio signals. Shostak speculates that AI, already enabling internet searches for cat and dog videos, oh, that's a good use for it, could someday automatically search telescope images for unusual visual features that might represent...
I want to see kitty videos. I'm sorry, Dave. I can't do that. Hal, show me kitty videos. I'm sorry, Dave. I can't do that. Opening outer bay door now.
That could someday automatically search telescope images for unusual visual features that might represent huge alien megastructures from either existing or bygone civilizations, or could just show you cat videos. As he put it,
they're so cute. Oh, little kitties all playing with balls of yarn and jumping on puppies. Who doesn't want to see those? I don't, Dave. I don't ever want to see them again. Al, stop being a dick.
As he put it, AI can find cats on the internet. Maybe it could also find Klingons in space.
Nice.
Oh, dear God. That's a good line to end on right there.
Well, with that, let's take a break. I want to remind everybody, tomorrow, Haunted World War II, Soldier Spirits, Ghost Planes, and Strange Synchronicities will be visited by Matthew Swain, always one of our favorite guests. Plus, we've got two Theater of the Minds. We've got a brand new Theater of the Mind. And in keeping with the subject tomorrow, we're going to revisit, Tim, an older Theater of the Mind from, I think, our first year of Beyond the Darkness. And it has to do with the Battle of Los Angeles. Mm-hmm. And I truthfully, I think it's one of the cooler ones. It's a little longer than our other ones, but I just love it. And you get to hear me try to do my Walter Brennan old man voice throughout the entire thing.
Oh, yeah.
See that mountain over there? Someday I'm going to climb that mountain. All right, let's take a quick break. We'll come back. We've got more of the best in paranormal talk radio, more supernatural news, a new phone call you can't miss, and a couple of your stories in Parashare when we return to Beyond the Darkness.
Beyond the Darkness.
Welcome back. This is the best in paranormal talk radio, Beyond the Darkness, on a Supernatural News Parashare Saturday. I want to do this. Again, you can call and be a part of our Voices from Beyond and leave your story. If you've got a cool paranormal experience, scary, funny, weird, bizarre, Ouija boards, angels, ghosts, demons, chupacabra, Bigfoot, Dogman, whatever you've seen, whatever you've experienced, we want to hear about it. Call us at 651-300-4977. 651-300-4977. And just like this gentleman did, it is a follow-up to a call from last week. Tim, you're being called out for making fun of Kentuckians, I see.
Well, yeah. Let me explain just briefly, just real quick. Now, Earl from Eastern Kentucky called last week, and it was kind of a friendly jibe, right? In that Earl just said, well, you got an issue with people from Kentucky, and I lovingly explained that no. Every once in a while we just kind of needle people from the South, and it was no big deal. And Earl and I had a good laugh over it. Ha 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 ha. Well, it turns out I told Earl I had a bit of an issue with the way people in Kentucky pronounced Louisville, because there is no King Louis.
What was that word?
Louisville, because it's Louisville because there was a King Louis in France. King Louis. There is no King Louis.
Louisville.
Yeah, Louisville. So he basically called back to take umbrage with Louisville. But in the process, it turns out that so you'll hear the first part of this phone call, which is pretty funny, and then the second part is even funnier. But go ahead.
All right, so we're just going to roll through both parts?
No. Do the first part first, and then we'll get to
do the first part first, the second part second?
Yeah.
All right, here it is. You've been waiting for it. Earl from Louisville, right here on Beyond the Darkness.
Hello, Dave and Tim. I sure am glad you addressed some of the things we talked about there earlier. This is Earl from Eastern Kentucky, by the way. Dave, welcome back if you are back, and Tim, I guess, can catch you up on what this is all about. But we had a little bit of a thing there where we just called in. Tim ironed it all out for me that y'all do like people from Eastern Kentucky. It's just a little bit of a joke, but that's fine and dandy. We can do that. But one thing I do want to address now, based on your reply, there is Louisville. Now, Louisville, one little issue with that now. We don't try to pronunciate that word very well because we honestly can't stand Louisville. More of us here in Eastern Kentucky are big Blue fans. See, there's competing universities here. There's the University of Kentucky and University of Louisville. Anyway, I digress. This is paranormal. I'm a little abnormal, but I'm going to try to move on. There is one thing, the reason I do not go ever to Louisville is there's this witch's tree. Now, this thing, I've never seen it in person, but my aunt lives down that way, and she sends pictures of it. Supposedly, a bunch of these legends, covens from Kentucky, they met there and used to cast their spells. I think you've actually covered this one time. You had a guest on and spoke about it. Maybe not, but we'll just go into it briefly. Different spells they'd cast, and, they wanted to put a road right through where this tree existed in the middle of the city. Well, I guess a bunch of these crazy ass witches got mad, and they all just said, look, if you're going to build a road through here, we're just going to blow your damn town up. And I think they had a lot of problems with fires and things like that. That's the reason I don't ever go to Louisville. There is a King Louis, yes, but, we like to think of King Lou. Well, he's hanging down past Winchester. But anyway, Eastern Kentucky, big Blue fans. Now, we have our own little town here in Pike County, Hatfield, McCoys. I'm sure you both are familiar. A lot of shoot-me-up families couldn't get along. Anyway, neighbors, that is. Anyway, we do have one little tale, Octavia Hatcher, true story. Everybody out there at your Google machine, pull it up. Look, Octavia Hatcher, poor girl, she got bit by the testy fly. It does, I think, pronounce it out there like a testy, but it's not. It's T-E-T-S-E-T-E something other. It's really hard to say. Oh, by the way, Dave, did you have any of that Mentetti over there, that little Polish sausages? They're little. My wife's background from Romania, and anyway, she makes these every morning. She tries to tell me that they're better off looking like little fingers, but I like them to be round. That's my preference. But anyway, Octavia Hatcher got buried alive. Tsetse fly makes you have symptoms like you can't breathe, you're real shallow breathing, all that symptoms, and well, after another little case of it popped up in town, her husband, I reckon he was a little bit older than her, dug her up to see, and sure enough, claw marks under the grave inside the, casket. That's a terrible way to go, I know, but scary things, very scary. Jim Cornette, by the way, also a Louisville man. I bet you anything he's part of that damn witch's covenant. But anyway, thanks, Tim, for explaining, and good luck pronunciating some more of them words. Okay.
All right, Earl. Thank you for that call. Now, you said we've got a follow-up to this call. Because obviously it sounds like he got cut short a little bit there at the end.
He did. He got cut a little short. So then it turns out that Earl decides to call back, but the reason he called back was that he got in a little bit of trouble, Dave, I guess for being on the phone with us. So here's the second part of the call.
Okay.
Poor Earl.
Yes, sir. Basically, got called off. I do appreciate you letting me call him back, but just spent 30 minutes there pretty much talking to my wife, trying to explain why in the world I was talking to some misty girl. I was recording for adult call-in, them old things you used to call in and talk to, the fancy girls, and, well, you'd have to pay for it. But anyway, your number's just one off from that. That number is 65. Well, I better not give it out. But anyway, I hope nobody else has landed on that number. I'm in trouble. Just trying to call back because I ended, Tim, good luck pronunciation them words. I know they're hard. I do hear you struggle. And all of us here in East Kentucky definitely know. We can relate to your pain. But you do give it a mighty UK effort. So love y'all's show. Hey, welcome back. Tim did a hell of a job on both ends there with the midnight out in the desert. So you should be proud of each other, I reckon. Well, till next time, this is Earl from Eastern Kentucky. Carry on.
Nice. Our phone number is one digit off from a porn chat service, huh?
I guess. How'd the wife track that down? I don't know. I don't know if she thought it's just like the State Farm scenario where he's on the phone late at night and the wife is a little leery and it turns out that he's
Earl, who are you talking to? Just Dave and Tim. Oh, yeah? What are they wearing?
Are they ugly, Earl? So, yeah. Sorry, Earl, we didn't mean to get you in trouble.
Yeah, now play this part back for your wife so she knows you legitimately called us before you called the porn number.
Right. Before you called the porn number.
All right, we've got some more supernatural news to get into.
Who's Misty? I want to know who Misty is.
I don't know, but I'd like her to play for me.
Yeah.
Yeah, say a little radio humor. Play Misty for me. It's a movie. If you haven't seen Clint Eastwood, a movie radio host guy. Anyway, let's get going. Supernatural news. Where are we off to next?
M6 fatal crashes are due to ghosts, evidently, including phantom lorries, vanishing hitchhikers, and even Roman soldiers, according to paranormal investigators. Yeah.
Do tell.
Yeah, out there on the old M6 highway. A paranormal investigator has claimed crashes on the M6 are caused by ghosts. Mike Brooker, who describes himself as an international psychic medium, says drivers have reported seeing phantom lorries, vanishing hitchhikers, and Roman soldiers between junctions 16 and 19 in Cheshire. He said there's a real negative energy on that part of the motorway, which he has dubbed Britain's Bermuda Triangle. Mr. Brooker said he has been investigating crashes there since his school friends were killed in a horror smash in 1976. I only read it. I don't coin the phrases, folks. He told the Daily Star Sunday, I know people who have lost their lives and families who have been affected by accidents on this stretch of motorway. There appear to be two principal answers. One is that the motorway was built on a Roman burial site, and the other is that it was the site of a slaughter of a Scottish army. It is clear something is very wrong to cause so many accidents on what is, to all intents and purposes, a fairly straight stretch. A 2006 survey named the M6 as Britain's most haunted road. We assumed Britain's spookiest road would turn out to be a dark lane near an ancient battlefield, said Tony Simmons, sightings coordinator for the survey. But when you think about it, these findings make sense. The M6 is one of Britain's longest roads, and it travels through many counties, and therefore an immense amount of history. Between January and August 2017, there were more than 70 serious accidents between junctions 16 and 19. There you go. We move on where I believe Mally and I talked about this guy last week, or actually it was Tim Weisberg and I talked about this guy a couple weeks ago. A ghost was spotted by a paranormal investigator on board a haunted Queen Mary ship. Xavier Hunter claims he felt the temperature drop and a cold shiver run down his spine before the spooky apparition appeared. Tim seems to think that this guy just saw himself on camera, but a paranormal investigator claims to have captured a ghostly figure on camera as he explored the haunted Queen Mary ship, and he says he could hear the eerie voice of a little girl singing, which he also recorded while on board. 38-year-old Xavier Hunter claims his encounters with 2 potential ghosts on the retired ocean liner were among the best he's had as a paranormal investigator. The ghost hunter filmed himself exploring the bowels of the ship alone in the middle of the night and was extremely shocked when a split-second shot revealed a creepy figure standing behind him. Xavier claims he felt the temperature drop and a cold shiver run down his spine before the spooky apparition appeared behind him in the same area where it's believed 2 men died in the engine room. Later footage also captured the voice of a little girl ghost singing a nursery rhyme, which Xavier claims is one of the best experiences that he's had as a paranormal investigator. The investigator believes he was alone in the engine room since it was 3 a.m. and the encounters were so strong they sent shivers down his spine and left him dizzy and nauseous. Xavier, who's from Las Vegas, Nevada, said, "I was extremely shocked and excited to have captured something like this on camera. I also thought that the ship's legends were just made-up stories, but how can I deny them if I captured evidence of it on camera?" As a paranormal investigator, this is the type of...
makes a good point.
No, that's true. As a paranormal investigator, this is the type of footage we dream of catching when we explore these haunted locations. The figure of the apparition is interesting because it almost looks like a man in modern clothing wearing a T-shirt and brown pants or shorts, except where the legs are supposed to be, there's nothing there. I think this is the part that Tim was kind of arguing he kind of captured himself. The figure almost looks transparent. The creepy part is that it seems to be looking directly at me. While exploring the engine room, I felt a cold shiver down my back and lightheaded. The temperature dropped drastically, almost to the point where I wanted to wear a sweater. I knew that I had a chance at catching something on camera. I should keep filming, and this time it paid off. I supposed that someone else could have been down there with me, although I tried to make sure there wasn't anyone else down there. There are only a couple of places someone could walk down in the engine room without being heard or cross paths with. Sometimes my mouth works just fine.
Easy for you not to say, yeah.
Yeah. Unless the person was hiding somewhere and I completely missed them, then I must say that I was the only person down there. Xavier's heard stories of hauntings by 2 ghosts known as John and Harry, who he says both died in the engine room, and also a little girl named Jackie who allegedly drowned in the second-class pool, who's crossed over daily 3 times a day, I guess. I don't know. That's what I hear. Yeah.
People are always trying to cross her over to the other side.
Yep.
She's been to the other side more times than the chicken, Tim.
That's right. He believes the singing voice in his video to be the ghost girl Jackie, and even claims he's one of the lucky few who to make contact with the ghost.
Let's listen to that audio that he got. Ready?
Sure, yeah.
Heartbeat! I'm looking for a heartbeat.
Wow.
That doesn't really sound like a little girl to me, Tim. No. Are we sure this guy knows what he's talking about?
She's got a very robust voice for a little girl, I'll just say. Yeah.
Well, I guess maybe if you're there hearing it eerily in the chambers of the first-class pool, it does sound more feminine to you. I don't know.
The fact that she knows...
Heartbeat! I'm looking for a heartbeat!
The fact that she knows 80s Don Johnson songs are amazing.
Who doesn't? I don't want an afterlife where there's no 80s Don Johnson music.
I mean, the fact that, she supposedly died back when the Queen Mary was, was Don Johnson even singing Heartbeat back then?
Yeah, duh. It transcends time, Tim.
Oh.
When you have an artist as talented and as amazing as Don Johnson, I can't say it without breaking into laughter.
Yeah, I know. Xavier said the moments before hearing the little ghost girl sing was actually one of the best experiences I've ever had as an investigator. But then, Don Johnson gives a lot of people good experiences, I guess. I had been using my dowsing rods near the old nursery.
Is that what you call it?
Yeah, well, where some of the ship's staff had told me they've heard small children playing and singing before. They all sing Don Johnson down there. At least that's what Pennywise told me. Captured on video, you can clearly hear several bangs and things moving about and creating noise for me, he went on to say. My camera also malfunctioned several times while filming, and I felt goosebumps and the hair on my arms and neck and back begin to stand. Unless the Queen Mary staff have strategically placed speakers around the ship and is playing pre-recorded sounds as you walk through several places along the ship. I don't know how to explain it. I would have to say that these Class A captures are some of the best evidence I've ever seen come out of the Queen Mary's long list of apparitions. The ghost hunter admits he felt skeptical about the reports of paranormal activity on the British cruise liner, which is permanently docked in Long Beach, California, but he felt intrigued to investigate and explored the ship alone during his overnight stay. His spooky encounters haven't deterred him from wanting to return to the ship. So there you go.
And, of course, the ship was used during World War II. They referred to it as the Gray Ghost. Yeah. And that's how some of the ghosts got on board, because of the collision and deaths that took place on board. Mm-hmm. So I bring that up because tomorrow's show, we have Matthew Swain joining us. And he's got a new book called Haunted World War II, Soldier Spirits, Ghost Planes, and Strange Synchronicities. So make sure you guys tune in for that. We have a brand new Theater of the Mind, and at the end of the show, a special throwback Theater of the Mind as well.
Absolutely, yeah.
Oh, hey, if I can remind everybody, too, I'm back Midnight in the Desert, Monday through Friday. I'll be hosting and doing what I always do. So make sure you tune in. Tim's going to be filling in again around the 11th or 12th of October when I'm off to the Shooting Star Casino event. But it's great to be back Midnight in the Desert. If you want to listen to the best in anomalous talk radio Monday through Friday, check it out. And then you can listen to the best in paranormal talk radio with us here on Beyond the Darkness every Saturday and Sunday. And don't forget our True Crime Tuesday program. Every Tuesday, a brand new True Crime Tuesday program. And we did one this last week. Tim filled in while I was out ill, talking about the game show killer, Rodney Alcala. And this is an updated, I know we did one, I think it was back in a year ago on this case. And you did an updated episode with new information. So check it out. It's a good one. Our buddy was back, Alan Warren, sharing the story and the updates with us. So we've got new ones coming up all the time. Where are we off to next in the world of supernatural news?
We're going to our buddy Chris Jericho, who's talking about hunting monsters. Good Lord, I'm having some issues today. He's also talking about wrestlers having some options out there, which is one thing. I mean, he's also taken that option, if you will, as he's out in New Japan, and he's also their Intercontinental Champion.
There's New Japan?
New Japan Pro Wrestling, New Japan.
Oh, I thought he was saying he was out in New Japan. I didn't know if they'd gotten rid of old Japan or if
no.
New Japan had, all the same great taste, but 1/3 calories.
No, it's nothing like that. He's wrestling in New Japan Pro Wrestling. It's kind of the up and, I shouldn't say the up and coming. They've almost taken over as the number 2 company now. My apologies to Ring of Honor and Impact, because we're going to be seeing them on the Chris Jericho Rock and Wrestling Rager Cruise. Look at me with the plug. He's their Intercontinental Champion, and he gave an interview to TV Insider where he talked about the current state of the industry. He has an upcoming television special called Chris Jericho Hunting Monsters. So he's going to be hunting. I would hate to be a monster who runs into Chris Jericho, personally, because if you've seen him lately in New Japan Pro Wrestling, he's not doing the whole "you just made the list" thing. He's like decimating these guys that he's running into lately.
Really?
Oh my God! He's splitting them open. He's
drawn.
Good
Lord, what is he? The Michael Myers of the wrestling world now?
He's gone nuts.
Great. I
have one of his new shirts from New Japan, and on the back it says, "I'm not tranquilo," which means calm or cool. "I'm effing crazy."
I see.
That's what it says. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Just saying.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So he was talking a little bit with this program about about wrestlers having options and whatnot, and he says it's cool. That's what they are, options. You're not going to beat WWE at their own game, so on and so forth. But then he goes on to talk about hunting paranormal monsters in his own upcoming television special. And he says, during the show, you will see some really, I don't know what to say, weird stuff, but stuff happened that I can't explain. And Chris is really into the paranormal. He's talking about a lot about paranormal activity and things along those lines on the Talk is Jericho podcast in my life, as he goes on to say in this quote, "But I haven't experienced it much. But being there and experiencing it and feeling it for myself, this is not something to just promote the show, but there's something strange that happened. You got to check it out to see what I'm talking about. There's a lot of weird stuff out there that is not explainable with a scoffing laugh. There is stuff out there that makes me believe even more when we talk about this paranormal activity, unexplainable occurrences. There's a lot of it out there, and it's fun for me to explore that. And then he went on to talk a little bit about how the wrestling business is changing. But you know what's interesting, Dave, is a lot of, and people kind of, when years and years ago when I was tying the whole wrestling paranormal thing together, people were like, wrestling and paranormal, come on, dude. But seriously, wrestlers see a lot of paranormal activity, and it's because they travel from place to place to place. They're on the road nonstop. A lot of these guys are on the road 300 days a year and go to a lot of different places. And a lot of these stadiums, a lot of places that have a lot of high energy, and they end up going on they have a lot of downtime as well, and they end up going to a lot of different places where they end up running into activity. And you'd be surprised. A lot of these guys love conspiracy theories. They love the paranormal. And when you go on, if you're joining us for Chris Jericho's Rock and Wrestling Rager, you're going to run into a lot of wrestlers that love the paranormal, that love to talk about conspiracy theories, ghosts, cryptids. I mean, a lot of these guys will sit down and talk your ear off about paranormal. They love it.
Well, hopefully we can get a couple of them to sit down with us.
Absolutely.
Yep. That'll be the game plan. All right, how many stories do we have left here?
Let's see. Looks like we have just a couple.
All right, where are we off to next?
Just a couple. We're going to talk about the Shooting Star Casino and the convention coming up that you're going to be at. You just mentioned it, October 11th through the 13th. Paranormal celebrities and supernatural experts will gather to present their investigations and experiences of the phenomena at the 8th Annual Paranormal Convention. Paranormal?
No.
Oh, phenomena.
Phenomena. See, even while facing the Romanian runs, Tim, I've still got it.
Romanian runs, isn't he the Universal Champion over at WWE?
If he's not, he should be.
Oh, that's Roman Reigns.
I'm going to be at this conference. I'm looking forward to it. I'm going to be emceeing the entire thing, plus doing a talk. I believe it's on Saturday at 2:30 in the afternoon.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, very cool. What are you talking about?
The paranormal phenomena. It's catchy, isn't it? Phenomena. I can't help myself. All right. Where does the story continue?
Well, should we give the cost of the VIP tickets? We can do that.
Yeah, you should, because this is dirt cheap.
All right. $110. That's it. For VIP tickets, it includes access to the exclusive VIP dinner on Thursday, and a 2-day pass for all presentations on Friday and Saturday. General admission tickets are $75 and include a 2-day presentation pass for all presentations on Friday and Saturday. Your tickets can be purchased online at starcasino.com or by calling 800-313-SHOW or via the Buy Tickets tab on Shooting Star's Facebook page, which is facebook.com/Shooting Star Casino. Special guests at the Paracon 2018 include Austin Emilio from AMC's Walking Dead. I believe this Dave Schrader guy from Beyond the Darkness.
Look at that. I'm second billed on this.
I see that.
Underneath The Walking Dead, Tim.
That's why you wanted me to read this. I see. Nick Groff from Ghost Adventures, Ghosts of Shepherdstown and Paranormal Lockdown. Elizabeth Saint will be there from Ghosts of Shepherdstown. Grant Wilson, Steve Gonzalez, and Dave Tango from Ghost Hunters. John Zaffis from Haunted Collector, and much, much more. Convention attendees will also have the opportunity to meet and talk with conference presenters, purchase goods, and more at vendor booths. You got your full schedule available online as well. And not only that, but our friends from the Palmer House Hotel will be there with a presentation on Saturday. So lots of good stuff there at Shooting Star Paracon. Again, you can get your tickets by going to starcasino.com. So check that.
It's one of the better conferences out there. So get a chance to come on out and hang out. All right, what's our final story for the day?
Final story is that a U.S. observatory was shut for 11 days, and we reported on a
because of aliens, Tim, UFOs, they're making contact finally.
Well, not so much, Dave. What? We had reported that it was mysterious before, but we didn't know why. Now we know why, and it wasn't aliens, Dave.
Carnivorous underground humanoid dwellers, Tim. Chud.
No.
Yeah, that's what it was. They closed it down because obviously things were coming up subterranean to eat their soul.
Not so much, no.
No?
No.
All right.
It was a little more grim than that, Dave, and not
What's
in a good
going
way.
on?
A child porn probe, Dave.
What?
Yeah.
At an observatory?
Well, evidently a little too much time on their hands over there. The mysterious 11-day closure of a New Mexico solar observatory stemmed from an FBI investigation of a janitor suspected of using the facility's wireless internet service to send and receive child pornography. This, according to federal court documents. The National Solar Observatory in Sunspot, New Mexico, was evacuated without public explanation on September 6th, leading to a swirl of social media speculation and rumors driven by its proximity to 2 U.S. military installations in the town of Roswell. Approximately 2 hours away from the observatory by car, Roswell was the site of a famous 1947 sighting of unidentified flying objects that the U.S. Air Force later said were top-secret high-altitude weather balloons. U.S. conspiracy lore has it that a flying saucer crashed near Roswell and that the remains of the craft and alien crew were clandestinely removed from the crash site by the government and taken to a top-secret test site in Nevada for examination. But the mystery of the Sunspot Observatory closure proved far less complicated. It was finally explained in newly unsealed FBI documents and records, including a 39-page application for a warrant to search the suspect's residence. An agent of the FBI wrote in the affidavit that she was investigating the activities of an individual who was utilizing the wireless internet service of the National Solar Observatory in Sunspot, New Mexico, to download and distribute child pornography. The FBI affidavit identified the suspect as a janitor under contract to clean the facility, whose laptop was found to have been used to connect to the observatory's wireless system. According to
Just out of curiosity, why does a janitor have a laptop at the facility? Shouldn't he just be there to clean?
Yeah, you would think so. Yeah.
Yeah.
According to the affidavit.
Shame on you. As the father of children, I don't know what else he'd be the father of, but as the father of children, shame on you, you sick pig. Any of these bastards, they should just be hung up there by their scrotums and left to twist out in the middle of the observatory with the focal lens of the telescope aimed right towards their junk and the sun.
Ow.
Yeah, well, that's how I feel about it. I could be wrong.
According to the affidavit, observatory officials made the decision to close and evacuate the site out of concern that the suspect might pose a danger to other personnel. The observatory was reopened on Monday. So there you go.
Yuck. Yeah. Now that's no bueno, Tim.
No.
All right, Tim, we've got some emails here, and I want to remind people you can call us 651-300-4977. Leave us a voicemail. We want to hear your stories. Voices from Beyond featured here on Beyond the Darkness. Earl from Kentucky calls. Maybe too much, Tim. It's going to get him in trouble with his wife, but he calls and shares stories. So why don't you give us a call right now? Leave a voicemail, about 3 minutes in length. If you have more to share and you get cut off, just call right back and pick up where you left off. Tim will edit the pieces together for a future episode. 651-300-4977. And if you by accidentally dial one number off, Tim, I guess you get to talk to Misty.
Yeah. She's a
We'll
nice gal.
sex you up.
Yeah.
She's gonna sex you up.
She's a friendly gal, evidently.
Is she?
Yeah, I guess. I don't know. I've never talked to her.
Well, give it a call, Tim. Break out your credit card and find out. I need to know. Then maybe you'll keep your eyes off my wife, you pervert.
Don't look at your wife like that.
What's wrong with my wife? She's not worth looking at like that? I don't even want to know you anymore. Hey, Dave and Tim. My name is James from Connecticut. Hope you guys are having a wonderful night. Hope it's a little bit better and creepier after my story. Here it goes. I was around the age of 21 or so 8 years ago. I immersed myself into the world of spirituality, lucid dreaming, and astral projection. Daily mantras and meditation practices, along with the use of herbs, Tim, and other experimental substances, not illegal drugs. For example, bananas before bed gave me more vivid experiences. Really?
Especially if you smoke the peels.
Is that how you do it?
Yeah.
Well, to get to the point, I got to where I would lucid dream almost every night, at least for a dream scene or so. But I could not control it anymore. Remembering 4 or more dreams a night, the key in lucid dreaming is your memory. I have a dream journal. Lots of stories in that book. Here's the one that made me do anything I could to stop dreaming. It starts with myself in an old school kind of car. It's pitch black out. A guy who looks like a priest is driving the car. I'm sitting shotgun. We must be driving on a dirt path because the road is extremely rough. The scene is that of a large cemetery, it seems. As the priest drives frantically, I'm suddenly aware why. There's a demon in the back of the car, and in my hands, a small booklet I'm reading from. I'm performing an exorcism. I'm reading, screaming, crying at this thing, asking Jesus to help. It finally goes away as the sun starts to finally rise. I look at the priest, and he was gone. It was only me there. I wake up in a cold sweat like I had the flu. I rush to the bathroom, look in the mirror, splash my face with cold water, and I took it all in. Did I just exorcise my own demon? The feeling of that dream kept with me for over a week. Thinking about it now still gives me the creeps. Said to myself, it is time to take a break from dreaming for a while. Just so happens, a legal herb we all know some love inhibits memory. After all these years, I attest to my same theory. The dream world is just as real as this one. Perhaps the dream us works to keep ourselves protected like this. Some call it our higher self. I would love to hear your thoughts on this. I have more stories from my experiences in Dream Journal to share in future episodes. I've not told anyone this story, yet it is immortalized in my Dream Journal and my mind. And that comes from James A. That's a cool story.
Yeah.
Yeah, that you might have been exorcising a demon, but I'm curious why. What's going on in your life? What kind of demon are you exorcising? That's what I'm curious about. But yeah, maybe there is a truth to living in two different worlds, living in the dream realm and living in this. Bananas before bed help you dream more, Tim. I'm gonna give that a try.
Yeah.
How do you light them?
Well, basically, you got to dry out the peels, and then you.
Oh, is that the way it is? Or?
Yeah, and then you roll them in a big, like a really big sheet of paper.
Ah,
yeah.
Dear Dave. Awkward. I cannot tell you how many times I've been up late into the morning thinking about emailing you for help. However, something always made me decide against it. First, your mom was sick and I didn't want to bother you. Then it was her passing and you finding a new daughter. Then it was you getting married or starting a new show. All these things were monumental shifts for you, and I didn't want to be such a bother at these paradigm-shifting moments in your life. I found reasons to not do this since 2016, but tonight, I think I just need to stop feeling like a burden. Be bold and send this. So here goes. They say that fortune favors the bold. Well, simply put, sir, much like you, I've been dealing with major changes and challenges. However, my trajectory has been decidedly on a downward path since my last good year. I can remember that back in 2009. There was a time in my 20s, I'm now 35, where I was able to meet and surmount just about any and all challenges that came my way. But then came 2010, and things have slowly degenerated ever since, almost as if my good luck went dry. I know you're a busy man, so I will spare you the long-winded story and give you the most abridged account of things I can. January 2010, my then wife and I lost a baby girl in a miscarriage. It changed her, and by the end of the year, she moved out, and by the following summer, she just gave up on our relationship. In May of 2010, the recession of 08 and 09 caught up to me big time. I'm working on my PhD, and massive shortages in state funding resulted in a 10% cut to my university. I lost my job as a teaching assistant, which took away my income and reduced tuition. I got a job first jockeying a register at a parts store and later as a car salesman, working 72 hours a week, plus 12 more commuting to make ends meet, all while trying to research and write a dissertation and save my marriage. September 2010, I was diagnosed with an inflammatory bowel disease, which made juggling everything 3,000% more difficult. I still suffer from it today. December 2010, as I mentioned before, my wife moved out 3 days before Christmas. I also had to quit my job as a car salesman as my illness was severely exacerbated by the stress. I went to work for my father 50 miles away running the family business, a small auto repair business. And in spring of 2011, Dad started not looking well and losing weight. We all chalked it up to the fact that he was 72, and there comes a point when we all slow down and lose vigor. Dad just kept getting skinnier and weaker. Turns out he had leukemia and was diagnosed officially in the summer. He had to sell the family business to make ends meet and pay bills. I was told by my college that if I didn't get my PhD finished in 6 months, I couldn't get it at all. The state regents were closing down the program. I had to pick between taking care of my dad or getting my degree. I picked Dad. Luckily, he beat it. In fall of 2011, I got an adjunct position teaching history at a local community college. Sadly, as the stimulus money ran out, I lost that job in 2014. I was able to get a job at another college 50 miles away, but enrollment went down, and that ended in 2016. Having no health insurance, my disease bankrupted me. Literally, I had to declare bankruptcy. I was totally broke. Over the next several years, I've had my parents, both single and living alone, face a myriad of health issues as they got into their late 70s, had my heart broken repeatedly, and have come in short on several life-changing opportunities. In 2017, I wrote a history blog that got noticed by someone at High Noon Entertainment. They approached me to be in a series they were developing for the History Channel. Sadly, it never materialized. I was a finalist for a nice newspaper gig, but I didn't get that in 2008. All of this is not my first time dancing with misfortune. As a boy, I was bullied and beaten at school, at first for being too small and then for being chubby. At home, I was beaten by my cousins. One attempted more than once to sexually assault me, and the other kid, my dad's girlfriend's son, did. My life was trash, and it caused me to have a total mental collapse in 4th grade. I've battled depression and anxiety ever since. But when I was a kid, a few teachers had always told me that I was intelligent and that I would go places someday. It gave me just enough hope to get by grade school, then middle school, and finally high school. I was a loner, a punk grunge kid at a preppy Catholic school. But I got all A's and B's and figured after college life would be good. By 30, I thought it would all be worth it. Well, sir, I am 5 years past that date, on the verge of a lost decade, and I've been living at or below the poverty line 5 of the last 9 years. I'm not suicidal. I just find myself worried that life won't get better and that my childhood peers were right about me. Since I've never once made a middle-class wage, 6 figures, deep in student debt loan, and fight depression, anxiety, and a chronic disease, I'm desperate for positive change. I'm just out of ideas how I can pull myself up by the bootstraps and get there. I'm hitting brick walls at every turn. I've heard you tell your stories of depression, and over the last couple of years as a frequent listener, I find some parallels in our experiences. I think of you as not so much a kindred spirit, but a comrade in suffering, a fellow traveler of the deep and smothering melancholy that covers us like a, bitmonious tar. Very nice word. I'll have to look that one up. I know that you sometimes help people, and I know I am indeed not a special case, and many suffer more than I do, but I'm here asking for your consideration to help me. I am panhandling for hope and positive change. Unlike myself, you have carved out some true success in your life, and maybe you would be willing to help me, a fellow, out. I live not terribly far, just south in Boone, Iowa. I'm willing to take whatever assistance you can offer, and to avoid confusion, I will clarify that I'm not asking for anything monetary. I just want to earn my way up the socioeconomic ladder. I just seek opportunity to make that happen. I need a boost from someone to get me going, or some advice on mentoring. Heck, even some prayers would be appreciated, even though I struggle terribly with spirituality. Anyway, I feel like I've taken far too much of your time already, so I will end it there. If you decide to answer my little Hail Mary request to the affirmative, we can certainly talk more. I am more than willing to scrounge up the money to get my old jalopy to the Twin Cities if be. Bald tires be damned, I say. Thank you so very much for your time, and that comes from Robert. I won't say his last name or give any information. Robert, the reason I read your story online is because I want our listeners to hear your story, because I think it's going to speak to a lot of people across the world. And I know it's really easy to fall into dark times and assume that we're cursed, assume that we're dealing with something and that we're a failure. You know, Tim has had to put me back on the path of righteousness on numerous occasions, and reminds me that, you know, Dee, sometimes when things seem the bleakest, when they seem the worst, really the universe is doing you a favor. And maybe, just maybe, it's got better plans for you. He helped me reevaluate and look at the way my mom died. I went from feeling despondent and disgusted and turning my back on God to a realization that my mom lived an amazing, full, happy, full of love life. And she got to see and do all the things she wanted to do. She got to help people. She got to be a part of that world. And by re-looking and re-examining some of the things that have gone on in your life, I tell you this, relationships, they come and go, sadly. There is not just that one great love of our life. It doesn't actually exist. I think that there are many loves of our life. And I think that we can find that when we start to appreciate who we are and stop buying into the negativity of what we were told we are or what we could achieve. Listen, buddy, I know I've been there, knuckle dragging, feeling sorry, feeling bad for myself. And you're right, I did carve out a life, but it wasn't just luck. I paid attention. And sometimes you have to pay attention. Sometimes you have to be in the right place at the right time and continue to push forward. Listen, Tim and I met at college. Had I not followed that pretty little blonde with the ponytail up the stairs into the Performing Arts Center, into the door frame of the radio station, I would have never had the opportunity to do something I've always loved, which is radio. I wouldn't have met one of my best friends in life, Tim. I wouldn't have had these opportunities had I just stayed wallowing and feeling sorry for myself and confused and lost. And I'm not saying that's what you're doing. Not at all. But I just want to tell you that sometimes you need to look back up. You need to continue to move forward. Because life is tough, and it's going to beat you, and it's going to knock you to the ground on occasion. That's not what defines you. It's how you get back up, dust yourself off, and move forward. Listen, you've had some crappy relationships and some bad turns, but the fact of the matter is, maybe, just maybe, you saved yourself a whole lot more heartache in the future. So these relationships folded quickly. What does that tell you? Hey, somebody's on your side because they revealed these people's hands quickly to you. You didn't waste decades of time with the wrong person only to find out that they never had the best intentions, or that they were settling, or that you were settling. So you got out of it a lot quicker. I can't explain the loss of your child, and that is heartbreaking. But I've been assured by medical staff around the world that when a miscarriage takes place, it's for a reason, and most likely because that child would not have done well or survived well. And this gives you a new chance to move on and appreciate the life that you do have and the life that you survived. And the best way that you can honor that child is by living the life that you should. Don't buy into the rhetoric and the BS you heard from your peers, and you're not defined by the sexual things that took place to you or the bullying. That's just a piece of the uniform that you wear going forward. You're the man behind the uniform. You're the man that keeps moving forward. And there are so many people out there that feel despondent and lost and dark. And you know what? There's no great magic. I wish I could tell you what it was to put me in the places I've been. Hey, I've had ups, I've had downs. But the fact of the matter is, I got to keep picking myself up. I got to keep finding a reason to move forward. Your parents are both still with us, according to this email. And yes, they fought some issues, and they're getting older. But you've had a great chance to spend extra time with them, and I hope you're taking advantage of that. I hope that you're living and loving and enjoying those moments. And maybe the reason things didn't happen the way they should is so that you would have that extra time with your dad and have to go back to work with him. Because had you not, you might have missed out. And had you not been there, maybe a cog in the wheel would have been missing, and your dad wouldn't have been diagnosed in the right time, and you might have lost him. There's a lot of what ifs and possible scenarios that unfold in our stories that we just never get to see the behind the scenes. You know, there's a really fabulous song by Garth Brooks that talks about unanswered prayers. And it sounds corny in nature as he talks about going to his high school reunion and seeing the girl that he always wanted to be with and wondering why God forsaked him, why he didn't get that girl, and then realizing that he always had what he needed and that the unanswered prayers sometimes are the best prayers. So find what you love in life and start to focus on that and helping other people. You know what? There are many organizations out there that may need your type of expertise, your love and desire and passion to push forward. And sometimes just by being that person that makes the next step, you can help somebody else out. And when you get out of your own head and stop wallowing in the despair and darkness that surrounds you and start realizing that there are other people that need help, and you start reaching out that one good hand to them, you might realize that they'll pull you out of the muck and mire as well. So see if there are organizations in the area that you can help. Maybe there are some charity organizations that are looking for a good salesman. Maybe there are people that are willing to take on somebody at the hospital to teach and help. And if that is your passion, find a way to use your passion. Think outside the box. Never surrender to the mundane. Never surrender to what everybody else believes in. You got to make the difference. So I know that sounds like a bunch of hype and patting you on the back and smoke blowing up your ass, but that's all I can tell you. That's all that's worked for me to get me to where I'm at in my life. I have a great woman. I have amazing children. Does it mean that there aren't problems from time to time? Hell no. But I appreciate all the good times. I've got a show that I love to do and another show that I love to do, and I get to do radio 8 days a week. That's amazing. And you can find those bits. You can find those glimmering hopes. You just have to keep your eyes up and your head up, and you got to keep looking to the sky instead of scratching at the ground. Now, I don't have any position. I work from home. I don't have anything I can do for you here, but that doesn't mean that there aren't other people around that might need your help. Check into children's hospitals. Check into elderly care facilities. Check into places with special needs. Maybe there are places that are looking for just the right person to come on in and help and do some education or to be a mentor. And that might start getting you out of these doldrums, and that might open up to a new job. Talk to the Rotary Club, the Elks Club, the Moose Club. Talk to people. And you know what? When people realize that you just want help and that you're trying to get out of where you're at, you'd be amazed at how many people might be able to step forward and help you. And I hope this message goes out not just to you, but to all the people out there that are facing this. And I know as we come into this time of year, a lot of people start getting despondent. They talk about the losses. They talk about the changes in their life, and the holidays are coming, and that can be a bleak time for a lot of people. But just know that you're not alone, brother. And I've survived things. Tim survived things, and we just keep moving forward. And you say you're not suicidal, and that's good. That's great. Look, you've already won that battle. So keep pushing forward. You have a reason. You have a purpose. And you're only 35. My God, I'm 50, going to be 51 this November. And if I could go back to being 35, Tim, would you like to go back to 35 and have a swing at this no matter how bad you thought things were at the age of 35?
Oh, hell yeah. I'd go back to 35 in a minute.
Right. Mm-hmm. So 35 is not old, my friend. 35, you are just hatching out of the egg that you were born into. So you've got a lot going for you, and your life will turn around. And I hope that you make that change. And I hope all the listeners out there that are going through similar situations like this can find the strength to make that change as well. Because your pals, Dave and Tim, do love you, and we do think about you, and we do pray for you. And when we get your emails, we may not always be able to respond, but we do care. And we do say a prayer for each and every one of you that send us an email. So please stay out of the darkness and find the light. Seek the light, and I promise it will deliver you. Hi, Tim, and what's his name? The other one. Wow. Here's my thought of the day. I've heard one or two of the recent guests talk about how aliens, Bigfoot, and shadow entities or demons may all be the same thing. This seems like a weird idea to me, but it's interesting that demons will supposedly only enter your body if they perceive some sort of invitation. And that also many people have said how aliens, if they notice that you are interested in them, it is much more likely that you will be abducted and get a taste of some alien prison life for one hot night. Hey, alien, get that out of here. This sort of invitation aspect is very broad similarly, but maybe there is something to it if these things are all the same kind of being. That would beg the question, how would you properly invite a Bigfoot? But I guess some people have done that with food offerings, which could be dangerous. Well, again, I think it's in putting the intention out, as long as you're not dressed up like a female Bigfoot. Yeah. Laying out a nice spread for him on a picnic blanket, just putting out the intention. And listen, if these beings are higher intelligence and they're of a higher level, then I'm going to guess that you're going to attract what you put out to the universe. And if you're living in a place of fear and terror, then you're probably going to get things that might come from a negative spot. So just stay in the positive. Another thought occurred to me that during the July 22nd, 2018 show on the Supernatural in Society, Culture, and History, as Mark was saying how belief in the supernatural and the existence of spirits in the forest, rocks, etc. goes back before any religion, it often seems that animals, dogs, and cats in particular, are more sensitive to the supernatural than we are in various ways. This could be attributed to all kinds of things. But I was thinking about how we came to believe in the spirits being in so many different things so long ago. And I wonder if we as a species had those beliefs way back then because we were more able to experience them the way that animals do. Could that be it? As we have evolved to become more logical beings and have distanced ourselves more and more from the other animals, that we are, in a sense, evolving out of our ability to experience the supernatural the way that maybe we were able to when we were still chimpanzees. Keep up the good work on the show. Anthony, the artist in New Jersey. P.S. I don't think that the earth is round or flat. I have a new theory. I think that the world is shaped like a giant ass. I'm calling it the big ass theory. People that subscribe to my theory are known as fat assers. Let me know if you'd like to moderate a debate between me and every single person that believes in flat earth theory. I think you know what part of the big ass I think that they are all coming from. I'd like to be a part of the Fat Asser Society, Tim. How do we sign up?
I love it.
Of course, he only addressed you, so maybe I didn't get the invitation.
No, I think you should be. I think you should be the vice president of the
vice president.
Well, he would be the president and founder.
I gotcha.
Yeah, you could be the vice president. Yeah.
Here's the thing to think about. Maybe the reason that these older cultures were so respectful of the environment and rocks and trees is because they treated everything as though it counted and it mattered, and it showed respect that way. Maybe it has nothing to do with it being truly, quote unquote, spirits in the material world. What it really has to do with is just showing respect. And if we take the time to show respect to our animals, insects, trees, water, and rocks and the things around us, as hippy-dippy and huggery as it sounds, maybe we will all be re-elevated. And that's what they really were connecting with. They were giving life to these things.
I hear you. I think, too, what he's getting at, and I think part of it as well is we were more primal, and in that there was an instinct, and we're losing our instincts, our basic instincts that, listen to me, all Sharon Stone over here. But there definitely is an instinct that we're losing with nature, and we have lost it. We have lost it. We've become something more in that we've unnaturally evolved out of those instincts, and I don't think we're ever going back. There's no such thing.
No, really?
No, we're not.
Okay.
I don't even think, even if we.
I disagree with you. I think there's a lot of people that still connect with those aspects. But, I just don't know if we've cut ourselves off and we've become so self-centered that we're going to miss out on a lot of that.
I think as long as we're tied to some form of technology or modern living, I don't think we can. Unless we get bombed back to the Stone Age, I don't think there's any getting back to nature, to be honest with you.
All right, our final email. Hi, Dave and Tim. Earlier this summer, I shared my account of losing my daughter, Serena. What I'm about to share with you in this letter is something I believe to be related to my little girl who left us much too soon. On July 9th, 2016, I was driving back from a football game. I'd been photographing at UW Stout near Menominee, Wisconsin. Along the way, I began to contemplate what had happened only 2 months prior, and the goodbye dream my wife had involving Serena, wondering why I hadn't had one since her passing. About a minute later, maybe more, I had this strange compulsion to take out my cell phone and take a selfie with it. Something that I do not condone doing while you drive. I can't explain why I felt the need to do so, but I did. A week or so goes by and I began looking at the picture, wondering what could have encouraged me to take that. Sensing something was more than meets the eye with the image, I zoomed in tight on my sunglasses. There is a gray cherub face visible in my right lens, or your left, that seems to be between the rear view mirror and my face, which are only 2 feet away from each other. Is this my little girl, or is this a passing spirit or entity that decided to pop on in at the exact moment I felt compelled to take this picture? Oddly, the original picture has since gone missing, but I have included a copy that has had the contrast and clarity boosted to bring out the mysterious face, as well as the cropped version. I've also included a copy of Serena herself. Perhaps you could give me your thoughts as it pertains to any possible likenesses. Thank you, Tim, and thank you, Dave. P.S. Please don't take selfies while driving, especially on the freeway. John, I see what you see. It is intriguing. Unfortunately, I can't tell if it's got enough likeness to be your daughter, but I definitely see something there. And you know what, John? If you feel in your heart that was your daughter, I don't think you need the qualification of any of us to tell you otherwise. And I would just say thank you. That was your message. That was your connection with your little girl. And it's good to know that although she may not be here in physical form, she's never far away from you in spirit. And I hope you can take some peace with that. Well, that's it for today. We'll be back tomorrow with more of the best in paranormal talk radio as we talk about haunted World War II, everything from ghostly soldiers to haunted airstrips, airfields, ships, tanks, boats, all kinds of crazy synchronicities and strange supernatural phenomena, plus 2 Theater of the Mind. It's a brand new Theater of the Mind and a special throwback episode at the end of tomorrow's episode. For Tim Dennis, I'm Dave Schrader. You've been listening to the best in paranormal talk radio. This is Beyond the Darkness.